the traditional food, open face sandwiches. They're called, oh, I just spaced what they're called. Anyway, but they just have rye bread. They'll do rye bread, and they'll do, oh, it's called smørrebrød. That's what it's called. So they just layer it with whatever you want. So remoulade, which is kind of like a tartar sauce mixed with mustard kind of. And then they'll put egg slices or meat or fish, pickled fish or different things. And then you just eat it open. You don't put two pieces together. You just eat it open-faced with a knife and fork. It's really good, actually. It's super yummy. And they really like pickled things. So like pickled beets, pickled cabbage, like it's red cabbage. Frikadeller are the Danish meatballs and they'll do boiled new potatoes with this brown sauce that they pour on top of it. I got a lot of meat and potatoes on my mission, a ton, which it was super good. Christmas is my favorite. There's so much food at Christmas time, and it's like awesome. They'll have duck, flæskesteg, which is a pork back, but they leave the skin and they crackle it. So they broil it under the broiler, and you eat it all. It's super good. And everybody makes candies and cookies and different kinds of treats at Christmas time that are very specific to Denmark. Everybody loves black licorice. Black licorice is a staple. It's in every grocery store. They have black licorice for children, black licorice for adults that says on the package, not for children. Salt licorice, which kind of has a bite to it. So they put ammonium chloride in the stuff for adults, so it has a kick, which is why they're not supposed to give it to kids. Anyway, they love their black licorice. So that's everywhere, every kind that you can think of. What else? Rødgrød med fløde på is a red berry soup, kind of, that they have for dessert, and they'll pour cream on it. It's really good. Ris Salomon is a Christmas tradition. It's a rice pudding with lots of cream and whipped cream, and they put almonds in it. And at Christmas, the tradition, they'll put one or two whole almonds, and then you try to find it. They pour cherries on top, like a cherry sauce on top, and then you hide it so that everybody... Like you have this huge dinner at Christmas, on Christmas Eve. They celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. And so you have this huge dinner, and then they bring out this huge bowl of rice pudding at the end, and you try to eat it, and you try to keep the almond hidden, the whole almond. And there's chunks of almonds all throughout, so you're trying to find the whole one. And then you get a prize. Usually it's marzipan. So I won. I made my companion sick because I was like, here, have more. Because I had the almond on my first bite, and I just kept it hidden the whole time. And so we both ate multiple bowls, but I don't know. I personally, they have liver pate, which is also really big. Not my favorite. I tried it multiple times. I didn't like it, but I had companions who loved it. So everybody has their own. So I don't know. They have a very distinct food culture, actually. It's really good. I love it. And probably the coolest thing about their food is hygge, which is, there's not a translation in English. It kind of means a cozy evening. And there's always food, and usually the lights are turned out, and they'll have candles lit, and they'll just sit around and talk for hours. And if you go to a restaurant, as missionaries we wouldn't do this, but we'd see people like, you don't give tips. It's already in your bill. And so you go out to eat and you sit at the restaurant for hours. Like you just sit there for 3 or 4 hours. And where here in the States, that would never fly because you're like, get out of the table. I want another customer because you want tips. But there you just sit and you just talk. And it's just this very social. So we make social events around food, and they add food. I don't know. It's like, everything is more social with food along. So it's a little different, but I love it. It's fun.
So a traditional Danish dinner is frikadeller, potatoes, red cabbage, and saft. So like the frikadeller is like pork and beef, kind of meatballs. So good. Then you get the potatoes with the sauce on it, and then the red cabbage all sliced up. It's so good. Like you get that a lot, but every time is amazing. Like doesn't matter if you've had that the last 3 nights. The 4th night, you're super excited for it because it's just so good. Hence, I gained 20 pounds by mission. Traditionally, they're just kind of like these Viking people. So I think that's something that they made. One thing I love about when you watch like an old woman make this meal is everything is interconnected. Like you use the grease from the meat to like make the sauce, and you use the water from the potatoes also in that sauce. Like everything, you use it together, and I think that's beautiful. I have no idea why that's such a beautiful concept to me, but it is just like the interconnectivity of this cultural dish. Christmas, they have the same meal, everyone has it, and it's so good. So you have fläskesteg, which is pork that has the skin still on it, and it's salty and crispy. Just like imagine like good crispy bacon, but so much better. And then you have potatoes, the red cabbage. You have brown potatoes, which are potatoes that are cooked in sugar and butter. And maybe you'll have duck with it too. And for dessert, you'll have this thing called risalaman, which is also has a cool story to it, because Denmark, Christmas is on the 24th, but on the 23rd, you have this dish called risengrød for dinner, which is like rice porridge. And you eat it, and then you put a dish of it in like the basement or the attic for the Christmas elves to eat. And if you don't put it in there, the Christmas elves will get upset, and they will cause mischief the entire year. So you use whatever is left over from the risengrød the next day to make risalaman, which is like rice with almonds and cream and stuff in it. It's so good. And you put cherry sauce on it. My mom came and picked me up from Denmark, and we got a lot of Christmas dinner because everywhere I went, they knew it was my favorite. And it was so good. Like every night my mom and I got it, we're just like, let's do that again. They eat a lot of black licorice. I'm not a huge fan of black licorice. They have some that is so strong that it like foams in your mouth. But like they're raised on it. Like their little kids are eating black licorice, and I'm like, that is the only way that anyone is ever gonna like black licorice, is if you start them eating it as a child, because no one is gonna like this if they aren't raised on it. Like I started to get a little bit used to it, like after getting it in so many like teas or cakes or stuff, like they just sneak it in there. My first area, we had black licorice ice cream on black licorice brownies, and my mouth foamed, and I was like, I can't eat this. This is so bad. Like, that was just too much licorice. But like, they actually have these sticks that you can chew on. It's just licorice. I actually really like those. Like, you stick in your mouth and you just chew on it, and it's like black licorice. They also really like marzipan, which is like almonds that are crushed up, and I love marzipan. You can get this cake. It's apparently like the most expensive cake. I don't know, but it's like strawberry cake. So it's like a marzipan bread, like crust of a pie, and then it has cream and then strawberries piled on top of it. It's super good. Their pastries though, so good. You eat so many pastries. Except I'm allergic to gluten, so I shouldn't have, but I did. Because they're just that good. You're gonna eat it even if you're allergic to it.